Hello guys, what's up? So today I want to do an episode and I'm really looking forward to this because what I want to talk about today is about kind of the difference between understanding dyslexia, or like the journey to understand dyslexia, and doing something about it. And they're two different things, and there could be like a blurred line in between, like understanding dyslexia and doing something about it, as in you need a bit of the both to when you want to do something about it, you need an element of understanding. But anyway, we'll talk about this and the differences and some philosophies and principles of doing something about dyslexia. Okay guys, I hope you enjoy today's episode. So the big question is this: how can dyslexics like us create a place, a community, a tribe where people at any stage of life can come and solve any challenge, amplify their strengths, and ultimately help them become who they were meant to be, or in other words, conquer their dyslexia? That is the question, and this show is the answer. My name's Theo Goff, and welcome to the Conquering Dyslexia podcast. So guys, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the difference between understanding dyslexia and doing something about it, about our dyslexia. Now, the reason why I wanted to do this podcast, and I was sort of thinking about this, is one of the reasons is that what I set out to do and where I really began my journey of improving my dyslexia, it happened at the end of my dyslexic school. Went for dyslexic school from year 3 all the way to year 11, and at the end of that school, I left into my sixth form, where I realised that each year of my dyslexic school, my reading and writing improved millimeters each year. And when I went to dyslexic school, realised I had no confidence, I couldn't socialise at all, and had all these other difficulties I was dealing with. I was in a really dark place at that time. And then I learnt some philosophies, nothing about dyslexia, just about life in general. And it was at the point when I had no confidence, when people used to, this is a couple months in school, people used to look in my general direction, and I used to just basically be so scared to move, like a deer in headlights, because they might notice me, and I'd feel sick to my stomach actually at times, because I'd be so shy really, and all this came about as me trying to fit in, realizing I'm not fitting in, trying to fit in, realize I'm not fitting in, and it happens again and again and again. And one of the big reasons is that I never learned how to. Anyway, when I was in this situation, I was in such a dark place. I was like, okay, let's do something about this. And I started watching confidence videos on YouTube about standing in a confident circle or standing in a confident way. And that, to be honest, they didn't work. I tried them over and again, and they were getting me frustrated until I came across this one video. This one guy, it was like the big guy. I remember it was like a Wednesday night, stormy day. One guy there, big broad shoulders. And I was about to turn off my iPad because he had I didn't think he could teach me anything. But then he said these words. He said, the only way to change your life is to take responsibility of your life. And in that moment, my whole life changed. I remember in that moment, I sort of realized it all just clicked. And this big, massive epiphany. And I remember being so shy and struggling every day with school and everything. And then realizing that, and as him saying that, it made me realize the truth. And this is like a truth, that ultimately I got myself here. And ultimately I'm going to get myself to where I'm the only one that can get myself to where I want to go. Because yes, I had situations in the past. Yes, I was not put in social situations. And yes, this and yes, that. Yes, my dyslexia. Yes, all this other stuff. But ultimately I could have done different actions. I could have spoke to someone. I could have done different stuff to put me in a different position than I am now. But am I going to spend any time beating myself up because of it? No, of course not. But what I am going to do is realize the power I have in changing it and moving forward. And the only way to get a different result is to act different, is to take different actions. And that's what I really realized. It just clicked in me, and I got obsessed on what I felt like understanding life. understanding why we do what we do, why we act the way we act, why we, you know what I mean, why do some people act like this, why do some people act like that, why, you know what I mean, the patterns of behaving, and like why are some people, like you mean over here successful, why are some people unsuccessful, and all of this stuff. I remember getting up at 3 a.m. The person I listened to, by the way, was called Tony Robbins, and like I'm still obsessed with him to this day. Anyway, like I started getting up at 3 a.m. doing something called Hour of Power, where you condition your mind, think about being grateful, what do you want to have happen, who do you want to be, and all this stuff. I had so many goals on my wall that I was like all these pictures about who I wanted to be and all this stuff. And I worked on it. Like I worked on it every ounce. I remember like getting up one, like I used to say to myself, I used to get up at 3 a.m. every morning, and some days I'd miss because I'd just be tired or whatever. And then I would remember walk to the bus. It'd be like a 5 to 10 minute walk to the bus. I remember saying to myself over and again, like I just say to myself, I must get up. Like I must get up at 3 a.m. every day and everywhere. I get up at 3 a.m. every day. I get up at 3 a.m. or just doing these, saying these things over and over and over to myself, with actually a lot of intensity. So anyway, I was doing all this stuff, and you know what? It worked. Within a couple of months, people were like, "Who are you, and what have you done with Theo?" Because I felt amazing, really. Because I come to school, crack jokes, be a completely different person, or this shy, awkward kid. Then I was doing all this stuff. I was riding high, and then they made me do a GCSE English. They forced me to do it. This is the second year of my sixth form, and I said no, laughing in your face, because GCSE is like a test. That you're supposed to at the end of like year 11, which is when you're like 16. But I skipped mine out because of dyslexia, and I was nowhere near it. I barely passed the functional skills, which is a lot lower test. They wanted me to do a GCSE. I laughed because I was like, with the best help and support in England for 8 years of my life, I came nowhere near passing it, and you expect me to pass it with 1/10 the help and support. And I was like, there's no way that can happen. So that I had classes to go to. I rarely went to the classes. And when I did go, I kind of mucked around. I kind of chat to people, joking around with this newfound confidence I had. And then the teacher pulled me back in again. It's kind of head of English teacher who told me how to do the GCSE English. I don't know her name, to be honest. Forget it. I forget everyone's name. Anyway, she said to me, "Look, Theo, you're not trying all the classes. You don't go to half the classes. Why? How? Like, I want you to try more. We believe you can do it." I was like, "You can't do it. You believe I can do it because your belief is wrong." And then she said to me, "Theo, after all this back and forth, why do you say that, Theo? Why do you say that you can't do it?" And instead of giving the argument I gave 20 times because of my schooling in the past, I said, because of this newfound knowledge I learned so much about, okay, the brain, about why people do what they do. And basically the answer is, like, I say I can't do it because I believe I can't do it. I remember the moment I say that, it's like, she got me. Or, you mean I realized it, because something I learned. It's so, so important. These beliefs about ourselves is just an opinion about ourselves. They're not fact. It's an opinion. It's not. It's just something we made up. We made up when we were younger because it makes sense. But it doesn't mean it's true. It doesn't mean it's fact. And then I sort of like said that it's because I believe it. I got all emotional because I realised a belief is an opinion. And then talking back and forth, I was emotional. And then this little voice inside of me said, "What if?" Like honestly, like it's like this little devil like said, "What if? What if you could do it, Theo? What if you could give it everything you got?" Because now I've got this newfound confidence, this newfound motivation, newfound understanding. Like, what if now with this person, with this Theo? What if now I give it everything I got? What happens then? And the answer is, I don't know. And the real answer is there's two things that can happen. One, I work really hard, I improve my English and I pass it, and then I could prove myself wrong. Or number two, I give it everything I got and I don't pass it. Then I prove myself right, I don't have to worry about it anymore. And then if I don't give it everything I got, I would never know. It's like, okay, let's give it everything I got. Now, one thing that annoyed me is that they wanted me to do it because I would get a C in English and I could put it on my paper and a full made CV. I don't care about my CV at all. I only care about doing this for myself. So anyway, I worked on my English multiple hours a day. Went to school early, left school late, 3 hours on the train, working on my English. Guess what? I passed it. But more importantly than I passed my English is that I improved my reading and writing ability 500% more in 1 year compared to 8 years of a dyslexic school. Now, I changed that because I changed my mindset. I changed my reasons for learning. And my motivation for learning changed, therefore I applied more. And basically I took what worked in my dyslexic school and what I felt what worked and applied that, and it worked. And later down the line, this is later for all these years of doing all this research and stuff like this, is that I came across other strategies that are so much more effective. Like right now I'm doing Davis method, before I'd done the universal reading method, that will transform my learning with my English. And now sort of like I realized, like, look, I'm doing so much about it. So what I realize is that the reason why I'm doing all this is because I'm a person that I like. The only reason, the sole reason I want to understand dyslexia is so I can learn to help myself and help others. That's the sole reason. But in order to help yourself with dyslexia, in order to help others, you have to realize that these core understandings, these core principles that we have to have, no matter what. And I think it all starts from this philosophy, is that when we have dyslexia, there's two decisions that we're going to make. Ultimate decision decides where we're going to go, and it's very simple decisions, and we're making them every day. And the first decision is, like, two decisions while we go, I would choose one or the other. The first one is, let dyslexia use me. That's when we create excuses when the struggle of dyslexia comes up. We say, oh, it's my dyslexia, I can't do this because my dyslexia. It's all letting dyslexia stop us. Or we can decide to use our dyslexia. This is where we take on the challenge. This is when we see our dyslexia in action. We focus on it, we see it, and then we take action. Take whatever action necessary to overcome it. And this is a commitment in ourselves to never, ever let dyslexia use us in our life. And that's where we got to start from. Forget understanding anything about dyslexia. We've got to start from the standpoint saying, I'm going to do whatever it takes to not let my dyslexia stop me. Because, well, people have done it before in the past, and so I can do it. It's a commitment you make with yourself. And the reason why you make the commitment, one, you don't want to be limited at all in your life. And number two, the challenge that dyslexia gives you will make you grow as a person so much more that a month, a week, a month, a year down this journey, you'll be a completely different person, with a happier, better, more successful person, because of the things that you learn along this journey of fighting the struggle. Because the more struggles we come against, not really in the external world, oftentimes in the internal world, that we become stronger. We become stronger as a person. We can move forward in our life. So that's the first principle. The first fundamental thing is making a decision to never let dyslexia stop us at all in our life. And the second thing we have to understand is that with dyslexia, is that what's the worst thing about dyslexia is not dyslexia itself. It's not the struggles that it gives you with the reading and writing. It's how it makes you believe about yourself, what it makes you believe about yourself and your abilities. Because you struggle all the time in a neurotypical environment when you're neurodiverse, you want to understand why you struggle, and this is probably before you got diagnosed, before you have a good understanding of dyslexia. And one thing you would say to yourself is that one thing you say to yourself is that, oh, why can't I do this? I can't do this because I'm dumb, because of this, because then come all these reasons. Oh, my headphone. And these reasons become beliefs. And the beliefs, if you have a belief about what you can do, about your potential, then you take action on that. If you believe you can't do something, you'll take action, you can't do it, then you get the results that you wouldn't be able to do it. And this never-ending cycle going down and down and down. And it's the beliefs about yourself. In my last podcast, I talked about how to change these beliefs about yourselves. And it's only when we got these two fundamental understandings that, one, make a commitment that we're going to never let dyslexia stop us. Number two, realize the worst thing about dyslexia is our beliefs about it. And we've got to work on our beliefs. Then the number three is understanding our dyslexia, understanding our beliefs. Work on understanding our dyslexia and don't go for the neurotypical route of understanding about dyslexia, all this science-based rubbish. That's not rubbish, but loads of truth in it, loads of amazing stuff in it. But it's too complex for a dyslexic person to use in everyday life. Get a basic understanding of it, about how it operates, about what's this podcast like here. Loads of episodes I've done about dyslexia, like in bite-sized chunks. And you take it and you think about it in your own life. Does it make sense? If it makes sense, to keep it. If it doesn't make sense, don't keep it, and then find something else that makes sense. But find something that doesn't make you excuses. And don't look for other people to change. Don't look for other people to change things. You must work, because it's one other saying, and one other fundamental actually. This could be like maybe the fourth one, is that after we learn something, after we learn that ultimately we have to take responsibility, not let dyslexia stop us. The second thing is that realize the worst thing is our beliefs. The third thing, realize that we've got to understand our beliefs and our dyslexia. The fourth thing is that the world will not change for us, so we must change for the world. Well, one thing, we can't wait for the world to change for us. We can't wait for everything to be like, at the moment, technology is amazing, and guess what? It will keep getting better. You can get everything to speak back to you and all these other assistive technologies. So that's absolutely amazing. You should utilize everything that's out there. But if your boss, if you say you're dyslexic and your boss shouts at you or belittles you, or if you communicate and people think of less of you because of your dyslexia, that's life. What are you going to do now? There's no point sitting there saying, oh, I can't change, or I can't improve, or I can't do the best because you don't understand me. Let's put blame on them about you, about the reason why you are letting dyslexia stop you. If someone thinks a certain way about dyslexia and treats you differently because of it, ultimately that comes back to letting dyslexia stop you. But you can say, oh no, Thea, this is the other person acting that way. Yes, it is the other person acting that way, but it's our job to work around that, to not let dyslexia stop us. We can either influence them, we can either teach them, we can either work around them and not have them problem, we can either do something else. Or if it gets to a really bad problem, and this probably won't be because of dyslexia, just because of other things, that the boss wouldn't like it, like that you have to leave because of the boss, and that's fine. It's life. Obviously, it's not easy, it's not nice, it's challenging, but don't let the world, don't wait for the world to change. You have to change for the world. And guess what? Everyone has to do that. Everyone. And yes, there is this shift happening, but it will take many years and many decades to come. But we have to work on it and just work on changing ourselves. And guys, there's a lot more to this. This is the fundamentals of understanding it and moving forward. There is more to this. But guess what? All you have to do is start. You don't need to learn and understand everything. Have all understandings, there's 12 steps I've done in my book of Conquering Dyslexia, and also I'm doing again. But you don't need that understandings. You just need to start. You start on this journey of not letting dyslexia use you, and just doing these very simple steps to doing it, guys. Okay. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast a little bit longer. The last couple ones have been shorter, and I really hope you enjoy these. And guys, take action on this. And by the way, I'm doing coaching, guys, completely free coaching, half an hour. It will start soon. I need to finish my training on this dyslexia David Davis method, so I have time for my coaching. But I'll coach you anywhere from learning English to confidence to understanding dyslexia to these challenges that we're going through, perfectly for adults with dyslexia. Guys, completely free. Why not take it? Anyway, link for that will be down below. Hope you're doing good, guys. Farewell and goodbye.